Quick, somebody give me something for the cold open. Hi.
Hey.
Hello.
It's cold as fuck. Snow, rain, and Harry Potter. I'm Oliver the Ricketts.
I am Brittany.
And I'm Marco.
And we're about to go see the newest Potter World. What's the name of this fucking movie?
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, the Crimes of Grindelwald.
That's a terrible fucking title. I mean, not to start out on the wrong foot, this shouldn't be a fucking Fantastic Beasts movie. So I don't understand why they couldn't both be standalone movies.
I love Harry Potter. I saw every movie when it came out at midnight, back when midnight showings were a thing. I love the books. I love the fandom. I love everything that has to do with it. Except, I'm not a fan of the Fantastic Beasts. The Fantastic Beasts book is like a leaflet.
Over your hands.
Yeah.
Like it's always sunny.
It's a leaflet. There's nothing to it. So they totally created this story out of nothing, essentially. I don't understand why, if it's going to be a Fantastic Beasts movie, just make it about the animals. Don't make it about whatever the fuck is going on with Grindelwald. It doesn't make any sense to mesh the two together. It just seems very sloppy, very clunky. And the first movie was not good. I hope this one's better. I hope they learn their lesson. From the trailers, it doesn't really look like it. I don't think it should have been Johnny Depp. I think that he's too much of an iconic actor to play something Harry Potter related.
I enjoy Harry Potter. I only read up into the Goblet of Fire because I kind of just stopped reading. I've seen all the movies many, many times. I'm not a Harry Potter nerd. I'm not a Harry Potter expert, but, I know plenty. I agree that they shouldn't have made this whole thing a series, but, that's just the age we're kind of in now with movies. They have to be, universes now. I think Johnny Depp has a lot to prove. I really don't see Johnny Depp as all that great of an actor, especially anymore. Yeah, he had iconic roles in the past, and yes, he still has iconic roles, but as far as his acting depth, I don't know.
His acting depth.
I want to see more from him. I hate Eddie Redmayne.
Oh, I was going to say that too.
I don't think Eddie Redmayne is even acting. I guess we'll see.
I got a lot to unload even before seeing this fucking movie. Number one, Eddie Redmayne is on my list of top 5 hated actors. Jai Courtney is my number 1.
What are the other 3?
Obviously, seeing him is never a good thing. Although I used to like Johnny Depp, and I like a lot of movies that he's in, it's no secret that Johnny Depp is a person whose success has totally destroyed him. I think that he just likes dressing up more than he likes to act. Maybe Grindelwald is the part for him, and I'm just not seeing it. As long as we're talking about people that I hate and people that I like, I think that Colin Farrell is a really underrated actor, especially from what I've seen the last couple years, and I think he would have been a great Grindelwald if they had just left it as, oh, Colin Farrell is Grindelwald. I think the biggest problem with the first movie was that J.K. Rowling wrote it. Obviously, I'm not saying J.K. Rowling's a bad writer, and she wrote 7 really great books. But just because you know how to write a book doesn't mean you know how to write a movie. And the movie that she wrote was not an entertaining movie.
It was slow. It was boring. It was very stagnant. I don't like any of the characters in this movie.
Oh, yeah,
everything was going to work out.
I don't like
a
single character in this movie.
Yeah.
And that's like part of the problem is I feel like they're all characters who could have been developed nicely in a book.
And I think when you're not going based off of literary context that already exists, you're kind of just like
doing
shooting
things
in the dark and just doing things.
Doing
Yeah.
shit.
Everybody loved the little beast that ate all the coins in the first one, and everybody loved the little Twiggy guy. So
Yeah.
of course they're both back in this movie. But that's basically the only thing that people loved about the first
There's
movie.
no beasts in this
There's
movie.
there's no redeeming qualities of the movie, period. Yet here we are about to
I'm
go
saying
see
in
it.
this movie, I don't think there's really that many beasts in it.
This all goes into my other big issue with this, which is we're just making a movie now, so you should be focusing on it being a movie, not developing your universe. Because the best universes are things that just sneak up on you.
Right.
So the perfect example is M. Night Shyamalan with Glass accidentally made a universe. Pick a lane. Do you want to make a Fantastic Beasts sequel because the movie made a lot of money and you want to do more of that? Or do you want it to be Harry Potter and fit all of the Harry Potter Easter eggs that you can put in there in one movie? And how connected are they?
Right.
Stupid.
Talk about one thing that you are actually looking forward to with this movie.
I'm just hoping that they don't kind of rely on like Harry Potter, just little tidbits of like one line of information from the books and then they're not gonna like fully explain everything. I want this to, I want, again, what you're saying, I want this to be a movie. I want them to actually, like, give exposition to things, not just rely on like outside knowledge that really there isn't that much of, but I feel like they're going to.
Right.
So tell me one thing that you are excited for.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
All right, this is officially the longest freaking opener ever. We have to cut this.
Because there's a lot of... Well, of course we're going to cut it, but we're just
Quick,
gonna
somebody
talk.
give me something for the cold open. Hi. So we just got out of,
Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald.
Yep, that's the name of the movie. It's not really fair. We've already put in 18 minutes talking about our expectations of this movie, and it's always nice when you go into a movie with very low expectations and it can surprise you and maybe it's not as bad as you think. This isn't one of those times. For all the bad things I said, I'm quite surprised at how bad this actually is.
Way too many characters.
Way too
Far
many
too many
stories.
characters, far too many plot lines, far too many stories. Very, very, very hard to keep track of. Everything was way too big. There was too much going on that really took you out of the plot of the movie. It totally put a big middle finger fuck you to the original movies. There's too much happening in this movie that from what we know about the Potterverse, should have never happened. Minimize it to one sentence, everything was just too much.
Too much CGI, definitely, for me. But, like, fitting in the context of the plot that was happening, it didn't, like, fit. I do recall there was one scene where the both of us, Britt, you and I, were both just like, what the fuck just happened? We genuinely didn't know.
The real movie has what's called ABC plots. You have your A plot, which in this movie should have been, hey, Grindelwald is about to take power. Then you should have your B plot, which should be, oh, this character has a personal journey to go on as well as, go after this one. That should have been plot B. And then plot C can be another character that you care about who has a minor arc. This movie instead has plots A through like O. And Grindelwald is, like you said, like L. There was no reason to have him in this fucking movie, if you ask me. The stuff that actually works stronger is the stuff that is Fantastic Beasts, because that's all going on. Then Grindelwald is happening, and then you have, like, 20 more characters.
You have, like, 2 love stories going on, like, it's...
3 love stories. Everything was far too much, far too confusing to be considered a good or an even comprehensible movie at this point.
There were some scenes for me where, like, if they had just focused more on that plot and they took away from, like, they took a couple plots out, it would have worked. Yeah.
We go back to Hogwarts, which is not a spoiler. We knew this was going to happen. It was in the trailer. That was actually a lot of fun. It should have been more of that. It should have been more of the Beasts. Anytime you got to see Newt interacting with the Beasts, that was like the highlight of the movie.
Yeah,
At least it was for me.
I think it was done much better than it was in the first one. In the
Yeah.
first one, he was just trying to wrangle them all. In this one, you actually got to see him being like a caretaker.
I don't mind all
It
that
worked
stuff. Like
better
that
than it
stuff
did in the first one.
Right. That stuff is fine with me. It was all the other
shit,
nonsense
yeah.
that ended up going on in the movie. But nothing even happened.
They advanced every plot a very minuscule amount.
They don't know really what the fuck they want to do. Even parts where it's like cutesy, like, oh, Eddie Redmayne is interacting with this beast. I feel like a better actor could have really brought those scenes home. And they spend so much time trying to develop that world, you don't get any payoff from any of that at all. That trailer that we saw is not this movie.
Very misleading.
The trailer makes you think, oh, we're going back to Hogwarts, and it's gonna be about Dumbledore versus Grindelwald, and Newt Scamander is some kind of pawn. And yes, that is the plot.
That's what the next movie's gonna be about.
Right. Well, that's the plot for about 20 minutes. We go to Hogwarts like in Deadpool 2 when you go to Xavier's mansion. It's all Easter eggs and little bits of fan service rather than it being the main story, which is a shame because we know that this story works. We had 7 movies about it, and if you do it again, I'll watch it.
Even just when they when they do the flashback with Lita and Newt, them going around Hogwarts in familiar places. He's at the Whomping Willow, like, you know, you see the Great Hall, and it's like, even just these things, you're just like, shit, I want more of this. Like, I don't care if you give me another whole 7 movies that take place in Hogwarts with different characters. I'm cool with it. But keep it in the formula that works and that makes sense. But I'm saying that, I'm like, why is this happening? Why are we watching this? Who is that person? What is their motive?
They're bombarding you with so much information so quickly about characters that you don't care about that it's just you can't possibly remember who every single person is.
Process. To go back to what you said earlier, Britt, about Hogwarts and stuff like that, I wasn't too huge on some of it because I feel like some of it was just like, hey, remember that in Harry Potter? I don't mind if they do it, you know, seldom, or if it pertains to the plot, which there was times where it was okay, like in the flashback and stuff like that. But there were also times where it was kind of just like, there are definitely things that could have been cut out of this movie to make it just shorter. I feel like it should have just been short. I said earlier tonight that Fantastic Beasts, the first movie, was basically an epilogue to this movie. I could not have been more wrong. This is an epilogue to the third movie. There's 2 epilogues that are leading to another movie. It's crazy that how little really, like, how little the main plot is really getting furthered.
Harry Potter obviously set up a universe over the course of 8 movies, but it also set out to make a real movie every time.
They're just throwing all these Easter eggs in that's gonna eventually become relevant. But not yet. I'll go first this time. I didn't expect much from this movie. I didn't get much from this movie. To me, it felt like Deathly Hallows Part 1 all over again, where it's just setting up for another movie.
Sorry, I'm not trying to cut you off, but like,
fine.
here's the dividing line. You like Deathly Hallows Part 1 because you like the Deathly Hallows book, and you feel like that movie was best emulated what was said in the book.
Right.
This had
It's
no
not a
book.
book, exactly.
Had no book. So it's not even like you could
have a
fill
structure.
in the gaps with
Right,
the
in your
book.
head.
In your head with the book. You can't do that. So this is just like bad because it's just bad. You're just left with whatever the fuck just happened there.
In addition to going along with the book is that you can follow what all the events, how they lead to one another. There's chronological order. This movie doesn't have that.
Right.
So I'll rescind my statement. This is more like Breaking Dawn Part 1, where there's just nothing happens. Like, I mean, again, I'm not an expert. I haven't read all the books. I didn't get really much from this movie, but I also didn't like hate this movie. You know, there were entertaining parts. There was good. There was bad, and then there was just a lot of confusion. So I'm gonna give it a C. It's so middle of the road. I don't hate it. I don't like it. There you go.
Piggybacking off of that, I think I'm going to go with a C+ for my rating. I was entertained by some of it. Like, I enjoyed all the beasts. I enjoyed Hogwarts. I even enjoyed when I saw Dumbledore for the 10 minutes he was on screen. Yours is middle of the road C because you neither liked it nor disliked it. I'll go C+ because I think there were parts that I really did like, but then there was plenty that I did not like. It's like, I want to like the movie. I don't want to go there and be confused. I don't want to go in and feel like I wasted my time. I don't want to go in and feel like I have so many unanswered questions.
I feel like all through the Harry Potter movies, I wasn't this confused.
No.
Even when I started getting...
Because it had a better baseline than this
even when I
does.
got past, you know, the books that I had read, starting with the Order of the Phoenix and so on, there was never a scene I was just like, what the fuck is happening? Who is this person? What are they doing?
And you know why else that is too is because you have the anchors of the characters to bounce off of.
Who everybody is.
You know who everybody is. You know kind of what to expect. You're not sitting there wondering, are these people all just lying and manipulating each other? Because that's what I kept thinking the entirety of this movie.
Like, I don't know
who's
what's
lying to who.
true,
Who's telling the truth? Who is who they say they are?
If it's not already obvious, this is going to be a pretty low rating for me. Where you're saying middle of the ground, I was thinking of a C, but I think I feel pretty strongly that I dislike this movie. Johnny Depp, while not as bad as I was expecting, didn't take me out of the movie, does nothing special with Grindelwald at all.
And I said this to you during the movie, honestly, it just felt like he was doing Sweeney Todd. without the singing. Go ahead.
He didn't have his like regular weirdness that he normally has, and I'm glad for that. But when it comes down to it, this is just a guy, you know, acting, and not like a seasoned actor. So that bumps it down a little bit for me. While there were parts that I enjoyed, I'm not a fan of only enjoying pieces of movies because it's from something else that I enjoy. And I think every single thing that I liked about this movie is only because I like things about Harry Potter and Harry Potter itself. So I'm gonna give it a D+. It's just not a complete movie. Do you guys want to jump into spoilers quick?
I mean, the ending. Let's just quickly
Fuck
talk
that
about
ending.
the ending. Oh, Credence the Obscurus, is the word, right? Turns out to be a secret Dumbledore.
Because they were switched.
Because they were
On a
switched on the
boat?
Titanic.
Yeah.
And then there's a child that apparently, according to what I just recently read online, is an impossible baby because the Dumbledore's mother was apparently dead by then. And his father was in Azkaban. So I don't know how that happened.
Credence gets told by
Grindelwald.
Grindelwald that he is a Dumbledore, and he uses the fact that he has a baby chick
A little
Phoenix.
baby, yeah.
Phoenix with him because he says, you know,
Phoenix
there's a
comes
legend
in,
that
yeah.
Phoenix follow the Dumbledores. Even Dumbledore himself mentioned it. You know, they're really relying heavily like, oh, there's a Phoenix there, he's a Dumbledore. But I think the point of that whole reveal is to make the viewer think maybe this isn't really true.
I feel
hope
like
so.
we're getting into like Star Wars prequel territory
Yeah.
with some of this
it's
shit.
just-
Because that felt so much like an Anakin Skywalker, like this is a last minute thought that I had. The scene where they're talking about Grindelwald and they reveal like, oh, Dumbledore knows Grindelwald. Is it Grindelwald or Grindelwald?
I think it's technically Grindelwald. It's a V.
I don't mind the gay subplot, actually. I'm, fine with it.
It was done fine in this movie. It wasn't.
I gotta disagree. The Minister of Magic goes, oh, you two are like brothers. And then Dumbledore looks directly at the camera and goes, we were a little more than brothers. And even that you could have got away with, but instead of cutting to the next person, they linger on Dumbledore for almost a solid minute of him just looking at the camera going, do you get it?
Yeah.
And then they do like a music video kind of thing where Dumbledore's looking into his reflection and Johnny Depp is looking back at him, which seems so homoerotic to me.
Speaking of Johnny Depp just staring, can we talk about that beginning scene that I know you and I laughed at? The beginning scene where they're in the
Where
carriage.
he's- like Pirates of the Caribbean.
He's just like in the back of the scene, like peering through a window. He's just like,
It reminds me of at Disney World when he comes out
when
of
he
the
comes out of
barrel.
the barrel.
On the...
Yeah. So ridiculous.
That was when I knew it was that we were in trouble.
I don't like that they made the Jacob's what's her Queenie?
Yeah.
Queenie.
That they made her crazy.
Like someone who's just apparently seems to be very pure-hearted and good. I mean, I guess that's why she's under the spell of Grindelwald, mostly because she just loves Jacob so much, and I guess he represents freedom from the Ministry, which has all these stupid rules. I can't see her just willingly helping him so much, so like it's nothing. She saw him kill all the Aurors. So it's not like it was all the followers that didn't see that were it was
Right.
basically just a big stage. She saw him just kill people, no problem, and she's just okay with that. Oh, I thought that was really weird for her character.
The only thing I could say about the whole thing with Queenie, in the beginning when she brings Jacob to Newt's apartment and he's under that like enchantment, the love enchantment, I almost felt like at the end they were trying to allude like or make like a parallel to her also like being under like a similar enchantment, but one placed obviously by Grindelwald as opposed to herself. I mean, that could just be my interpretation of it all, but I really did feel like she was enchanted by him, and that's why he calls her crazy, because at first when he calls her crazy, I don't think he actually believed she was crazy until this happened at the end, and he's like, you are crazy because you wouldn't do this. Lita Lestrange, totally pointless character.
We don't like Zoe Kravitz anyway.
I mean, she was pointless.
I mean, she was basically there just as the plot device to basically reveal that Credence wasn't, in fact,
Are we ready to
Lestrange.
blast off?
I'm going to Hogwarts. Hogwarts.
So Leto was basically there to be the plot device for the reveal that Credence is not Clovis Lestrange,
Something like
Sure.
that.
whatever, and he's actually, and then we later find out he's a Dumbledore. So that's basically all she was there for. I was happy when I saw it because I guessed it that it was going to happen, that it was Professor McGonagall in a flashback. I was like, holy shit, I hope that's Professor McGonagall. They said it 5 minutes later. But apparently there's no possibility that she could have been there because she wasn't even born yet. So there's that. And honestly, J.K. Rowling does not know what she's doing at this point. She is just flailing, hoping to make as much money as possible. I really think that's all it is.
That's all that this is that she
a cash
finished
grab.
she finished Harry Potter and
Exactly.
then a couple years later is like, you know,
Yeah.
I miss having a truck full of money back
Yeah.
up to my house every day.
Yeah.
Her original 7 books were incredibly solid books.
Yeah.
The world was very well thought out, but now you're following. It's funny I said it reminds me of the Star Wars prequels because she reminds me of fucking George Lucas.
Yeah.
Great idea. Carried it out very nicely the first time. We don't need all this extra stuff. Just let it go.
Yeah.
Continue to get your residual checks, make your money, and that's it.
And you gotta know when to move on. And
Right.
I mean, I get it. Maybe she just can't come up with something new. That's fine. I get it. It happens.
This is her big thing. She's never going to come up with anything as good or as
Of course.
fleshed out as
And
this.
it happens.
But as an artist, you know, you have to come to peace with that and realize, okay, the highlight of my career was this. Now everything I do after that has to be pushing off of this. So at least I can channel all my momentum into something new and make it the best it can be, rather than take down my greatest achievement.
I would like to watch a movie about nifflers.
I would like to see Johnny Depp be a good actor again.
Oh.
Is this confirmed it's going to be a trilogy?
There's
or no,
gonna
it's going
be
to be 5,
5.
right?
Fucking 5 movies? Are you fucking kidding?
Yeah, anything resolved in the 3rd one.
What?
We're going to wait 2 more fucking movies of just setup.
The next one, I don't even care if I see it or not. I'm sure I will, but I have no strong desires as
I
of right
felt that way now. About this one. I was kind of just like, whatever. I don't really want to see it. That's the
Harry
that's
Potter,
it.
and we shouldn't have made this movie.
J.K. Rowling and I want more money.
Harry Potter, and please put Daniel Radcliffe back in the titular role.